Hi guys, welcome back to Coding One. Today in this tutorial we are going to see microservice communication using a Springboot Kafka. So we are going to create two microservices. One is order and second is a payment. And those two services are communicating between each other using a Kafka instead of REST template. So when order is getting created, so this is our simple architecture for these two microservices. So our order microservice will be order microservice and the payment microservice will be sharing a postgres database which has a two tables. One is a user and second one order. User has id, name and balance, and order has id, status and order amount. So when order service create a order, it will put the message into order topic, and for that order topic payment service has been subscribed. So once message come to this Kafka topic, it will be consumed by payment service and it will check that for that order what is order amount. If that order amount is less than user balance, it will update the order status with a success. First, when order service create order, it will persist order with the state as a created, and when payment service process that successfully, it will update status as a success. Okay, so we are going to do this in this whole video tutorial, and I am going to show you this step by step. So first step is to do the setup of Kafka on your local machine. I have installed Kafka on my local machine, so you can able to see that localhost Kafka and bean, and we have multiple script under our bean which contains a Kafka server start, Kafka Zoom server start and stop, and you can create the topic using this script also. I am not spending too much time on this Kafka scripts. We are using this as a medium for our communication. So let's start our Zookeeper. So for to run Zookeeper, we have to run this command. Before starting server, you have to run your Zookeeper server. So I am running my Zookeeper server. It has been successfully started. Now let's our Kafka server. This is a master slave architecture. So Zookeeper will have all entries of your servers. Okay, so we have successfully installed our Kafka and started Zookeeper and Kafka server on my local. Now next step is to install Postgres and create Postgres database. So I have installed a Postgres on my local system, and I have opened up PG admin, which is a UI for your all database management. So you can create a database here, and that database we can use in our microservices. So let's create a database which is a Spring Kafka. So I have created a Spring Kafka database, and which we are going to use in our microservice. So our next step is to create a Spring microservice for our producer and our consumer. So you have to open a Spring initializer, and in that initializer you have to give all your details. So group will be coding world, and artifact will be Spring Kafka consumer. Sorry, I will create a first producer. Okay, and I'm keeping a packaging as a jar and 11. Now it's the main part. We have to add dependencies. So first I will add Kafka, then I am going to add web for my REST API. For database I am adding Postgres, and for Hibernate I am adding JPA. So you have to add these four dependencies for your producer. Same for your consumer also. So generate and download this project and import it into your favorite editor. Okay, so I will create a two instance, like one is for producer and one is for consumer, and all those two I have generated and downloaded on my local system. Let's import that in IntelliJ and start writing code for the producer and consumer. So this is my Springboot Kafka producer, and which I call as a order service. I have imported into my ID IntelliJ, and this is my main class. So this class has been annotated with the enable Kafka and the enable configuration properties. So now I have added a application properties, like one is for the Kafka servers regarding, and one is for the Postgres database. So in Kafka related Bootstrap server we are configured at 9092. This is default port for our Kafka server, and we are using a string serializer for the key and value both. I have created a one order topic, and I have made that as a auto create, because the when we make it as a true, it will automatically create that topic in our Kafka server. No need to create manually by running the script. We are running our server on 9090, and this is my Postgres configuration. So Postgres username, password, and DDL auto as a marking as update. And I am using a Spring Kafka. This is a Postgres database which I have created in my Postgres database. Okay. So now I have added these two classes, because to make this tutorial fast and not spend much time on creating these beans. So I would like to explain this order bean, which is implementing a serializer which has ID, order amount, status, and user ID. So, and this is creating IAM table as order one, because order is already present in my database. So, and like that, I have a user. User is a user has three fields: ID, name, and balance. So if order comes for any user, we will check order user's balance. If it is less than order amount, then we can mark that order as a successful. Now let's create a controller, then we create a repo, and then we create a service. So before starting controller, I would like to create a repo for these two, order and user. So order CRUD, which is an interface which extends CRUD repository, and here order comma integer. Like that, I am creating or user CRUD repository. So we are done with the two CRUD repository. Now create a service which are using these repositories. Now we are exposing first method, which is returning saved order object. So before saving this order, I am marking this order status as a created, or you can pass object as a created. Let's set, okay, we can create a enum for that also, but let's for now just focus on the concept. Okay, now we have saved this order, and we have to return this order object to our consumer, which is our payment service. So for that, I am creating a Kafka template, which is of a string. Okay, auto add. Now send. So let me import my topic. So this is my topic name, which I am taking from my application.properties file, and I need to create the string JSON string of my order object. So I'm creating object mapper. Let's wrap this into try catch block. Now this order string I am putting into my Kafka template. So this is my Kafka producer, which is producing my order object in JSON format to given Kafka topic. Now, so we are storing this into our, as per our architecture, we are storing our order into postgres database with a created status and releasing that matches to the our payment service. Payment service will consume this topic, and if that balance is less than, it will save this order with a success status. Let's create a one more method which will be returning list of orders. I'm using my CRUD, find all, return orders. Now I'm going to create a controller for all this. So let's create a order controller, and then we create a one more controller for our survey, for our user. Let's create a two endpoint. One is for returning the list of orders, and one for to store the orders. Okay, and auto wire our order service. So I am simply writing these controllers. I'm not handling all the error codes and status. So that we can decorate later. Okay. Let's another endpoint which is for saving our order, or you can call whatever you want, create or save. So in request body, I'm expecting order. Okay, we are done with our order controller. Let's create a one user controller so we can add the new user with a balance. So same here, I am creating a get all users and create users to APIs. Let's not create a user service, just import this auto wire, this our CRUD. So there's a CRUD repository. Public, and second one for the create user. Okay, so let's annotate this with post mapping, create, and gate mapping all. So guys, we are done with our first producer microservice where we have created a user controller, order controller, and our order grid and user grid. So now we have to create our consumer service. So let's import our Springboot Kafka consumer into our IntelliJ and start writing the code for that. So this is my Kafka consumer. So Kafka consumer, I have imported these two classes, user and order, and user grid and order grid from our producer. So let's create a listener for our listener for our Kafka topic. So all resources, if you check that, all properties and all properties related to the Kafka and Postgres are the same. So exact Spring Kafka. Okay. Now let's create a listener for our Kafka. Listener for our Kafka topic. So order notification listener. I'm marking this as a service and public void process order. So let's annotate this with a Kafka listener, which has a topics, in my case order topic, and group ID I am giving as a group ID. You can give any name. Group ID, why group ID is used, I want to tell, because in that group that message will be processed by only one consumer. If you have 10 consumer with the same group ID, so with each 4 consumer, and those 4 consumer belongs to only one group ID, that means it gives guarantee that your Kafka topic will be Kafka message will be processed only once. Okay, so for that purpose we use a group ID. If you want to process 2 times, you can mention that group ID 1, group ID 2, and you can create a 2 Kafka listener. So that same topic will be listened by 2 consumer. Okay, so in our case we don't want that, so let's create a, this will be accepting our order string. So let's print this message first. I'm not using login, but it's always better to use a login. Okay, now we have to convert this into our order object. So for that I am using object mapper. So let's read this value. So convert this string into object. Let's import our order grid. So before saving, mark this as a order. So we need to save the order. Okay, but before that we need to check if order amount. Okay, for that we have to first check, we need to check order amount is less than user balance. Now I have to get the user first for our given user ID. Let's import. It's AutoWire. Find by ID, and here we are passing dot get user ID. It is returning option, so I'm converting that into the I'm converting that into the user. So like now we have to check if user dot get balance less than order dot get amount, then mark that order status as a success. Okay, and we are going to save user set balance user dot get balance minus order amount. Okay, and save this user with the latest balance. Okay, so we are done with our consumer also. Now we have to test this with the creating order, creating user, and checking that order status. So let's run first our producer. So order service has been successfully started. So let's open our Postman and create some order. Before that, I want to start our consumer service. So let's run our consumer service. Okay, consumer service has been successfully started. Now let's create first user and then we create an order for that user. Okay, so let's create a user with the other side. So I'm hitting my user slash save. Sorry, create. So the other side has been successfully created with the balance 2000. So let's create one more, which is coding world. So coding world has been created with the 2000 balance. Now let's create our order. So this is an order object and order amount is 1,100 and status is created and user ID is 1. So now this call should be processed in order service first, and then we have to release a Kafka message for our order topic, and that order topic will be consumed by payment service. Yes. So order has been created and status is created. So if you see here in our consumer service, we got the message with ID and our order has been created. Now we have to check our orders. Okay. So let me hit my order. So order is coming as a created. Why it is not coming as a success? Let me check. If balance is if greater than I, this condition also wrong. So let's restart our consumer service. Okay. So group ID and our topic like consumer has been created for our topic. So Kafka listener is active. Now we have to create a order. So let's create one more order for user ID 1 with a more order amount 100. So that order has been created. If you see, order has came here and it is processed by our consumer. Let's call get orders and check. For order 4, we got the success status. That means our order has been successfully placed. So this is it. Like we have created two services and do the communication using Kafka and our data source as a postgres. So guys, this is it for this tutorial. If you like this video, please subscribe my channel and share this video with your friends, and stay tuned for our next technical video on our Kafka. Thank you.